Hey kids, back again. That almost seems like the beginning of a rap song. Um,
An
this
80s rap song,
right. This is
or maybe early 90s. There's some gray area there.
Backstreet Back Again. That was a song.
That's true.
This is episode 208 of the DG podcast, coming hot on the heels of E3. Me
That's right.
having watched 2 of the E3 shows, Jason having watched 0.
I watched the trailer.
Congratulations.
Hey, I'm just as informed as the average guy on the internet.
Touche, sir. Touche. This, well, we can talk about E3 later. We might even have more opinions, having not had the chance to really watch the Sony, even though this is recorded after Sony. Yeah, podcast, doing our thing, whatever it is we do. Jason,
You do stuff? Wait,
you had a week.
I did have a week.
What was your week?
Um, well, let's see. So, as you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, I've been reading more Caiaphas Cain novels. I finished the last one, which was The Greater Good, and I'm actually working on The Emperor's Finest now. The problem that I came across when I was reading it is I enjoy the Caiaphas Cain novels. They're written in the Warhammer 40k universe, and if you know anything about Warhammer 40k, it's Warhammer in general. Life
sucks.
is brutish and short and just horrible.
You quoting Hobbes now?
Not quite.
Hobbes Leviathan?
I couldn't quote it if you asked me to. I know that brutish and short are in there, but I mean, it's just horrible. Everything in the universe is out to kill you. And basically, so is humanity. Would that not be a fair assessment?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that if you are a human in the 40k universe, you are technically protected by...
Here's the actual quote. And the life of man, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short.
There you go.
He was a positive fella.
Yeah, I can tell. He was positive that life was nasty, brutish, and short.
Solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Anyway.
Yeah. So the thing is that if you're a human, you're ostensibly protected by the Imperium of Man, but at the same time, if you step even a toe out of line, there's someone that can kill you with little or no provocation, and they're perfectly fine to do it. But the thing is that if they don't have these strictures and these limitations, then basically all of humanity is done for, because the entire rest of the universe is out to kill you. And so
it's like the government and civilization that mankind has basically built is horrifying and terrible, but it's the only thing that exists that can keep mankind from spiraling into the darkness that is the galaxy.
Yeah. And so the thing is that, like, when you get into the Caiaphas Cain novels and even the Gotrek and Felix novels, they inject a bit of dark humor into the universe. And
still, one of my favorite quotes came from, I think it was the Gaunt's Ghosts novel. I think it was. It might have been a Caiaphas Cain novel, which was a quote from the in the book. It's probably tongue in cheek, but a quote from the Imperial Guard handbook.
Oh, right.
They and I love this quote from any book I've ever read. It's one of my favorite quotes. Is when in serious danger, when beset by doubt, run in little circles, wave your arms and shout.
That's Caiaphas Cain.
Yeah, and I went out of my way to remember that because I was like, that is awesome.
That's hilarious.
That's exactly what a military unit should have as a motto.
So the thing is that even though the universe is just horrible, with basically the entire universe out to kill you, the those novels are hilarious. They're great. I was kind of disappointed by the last one.
Not as good.
Well, I don't know if it was not as good or it's just it went in a direction that I wasn't expecting, maybe. Because it starts out with the Imperial Guard fighting against the Tau, and then the Tau basically stop everything and say, "Well, we just detected a hive fleet, and so it's really not a good idea for us to keep going after each other, because if we do, the hive fleet will tear us both apart. So let's propose a temporary alliance so we can make sure that we both survive to, kill each other another day." And I'm thinking, well, we're going to get to see like Kane, and especially from the front of the book, it made it seem like Kane would be fighting side by side with the Tau, and I, get more information about the Tau and stuff. That's not actually the case, and I think that's what disappointed me about it. It sort of seemed to be building it up because they're like, yeah, we're going to have an Imperial advisor sent with the Tau, and I'm thinking, well, Kane's going to go along. He's going to be embedded in a Tau unit, and it'd be kind of cool, But no, they flip it so that a Tau ambassador comes along with them. And then basically they just sit on the warship the rest of the time and don't really do anything. Although the Reclaimers the Space Marine Legion, the Reclaimers is in it, and everything. And I mean, it has everything that makes a good
I don't know
Caiaphas Cain novel. Well, as far as I can tell, the Reclaimers only exist because of the Caiaphas Cain novels. They were specifically
I know he talked
thought
about
up
working
because
with the Space Marines on a couple of occasions.
Right, and the Reclaimers are the chapter that he helps out, because the thing is that like I said, I'm now reading Emperor's Finest, which is all about how he was the Imperial liaison to the Reclaimers Space Marines chapter, and how he lost it. Well, how he got his 2 augmetic fingers. So far, it's turning out to be really entertaining. This one, I'm hoping that it's going to keep it up. Other than that, can't say that I did anything really spectacular like this weekend. So what I do is I have my home network. I have a computer upstairs that my kids and everything that they use. It's connected to my Xbox, so that I have videos on this computer that my kids can watch on the Xbox upstairs and stuff. And one of the things that happened over the weekend was that Windows got an update. I shouldn't say over the weekend. It was like Wednesday or Thursday of last week that they got an update, and it broke my network.
Oh.
Yeah. My computers could no longer talk to each other. And so my wife, we put the printer down here by my computer because we actually had it with the other computer, and my kids broke the printer, so we had to get a new one. So we put the printer down here, and my wife sends the print things that she needs to print down here, and it couldn't print. It couldn't even see it. It could actually see the computer, and if I tried to install the printer, it would try, but then it would say that it couldn't. And the thing is that the problem was that I had, since I'm the only one that uses this computer, and I have firewalls and all that stuff, and granted this isn't the greatest thing to do, but I had removed the password from this computer, so just make it easier for me to sit down and log on and stuff. That's what did it. That's what the problem was. Because I didn't have a password on this computer, the update required it. As soon as I put the password back on this computer, everything worked just fine. So, anyway, that's
I had a similar stupid problem. So I like to have this workout program that I'll use on my tablet.
okay.
And it's great because I hit play, and it's a great program because you don't have to think.
Uh-huh.
It just basically says, do this, watch the person doing this motion, and then just do that. And then keep doing it until we tell you to stop doing that. So it's not like you have to do 20 or you have to go really fast. Or it's like, do as many as you can until we tell you to stop doing it.
Uh-huh.
So it just has a counter, and then it's like, okay, done. Now rest for a few seconds. Okay, now do this thing, and then done. Now I like doing it when I'll work out in the morning real early. But what I'll do is I figured out a way to mirror it to my television, my big fancy television.
Right.
And it worked great because I could just put it up there, and then I watch the TV and stretch and do whatever in the morning.
Right.
Well, something goofy happened. There was a big update on the TV, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. I read a bunch of stuff. I kept trying to re-sync it. I couldn't get it to stream up there. So I finally went through some stuff, and somebody suggested, well, maybe it's a problem with some update with the tablet. So I deleted everything on the tablet, reinitialized it, didn't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is annoying when you do something like that, because it's like, I could have just left it the way it was.
Right.
After all of the efforts and stuff, I finally figured out that I needed to delete the Wi-Fi and then reset it up again.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
It wasn't connecting to the Wi-Fi, but it was acting like it was.
The tablet connects through the Wi-Fi to mirror onto the screen,
Uh-huh.
and it was already set up, but because after the update, it had screwed up whatever syncing it had done, so I just needed to delete the Wi-Fi off of the TV and then reinitial the Wi-Fi. And then it worked. And I was like, this is the dumbest. Oh boy.
I even tested my theory, because I put the password back on and then tested it, and everything worked just fine. It was printing and all that stuff. I took the password off, it broke again. Put the password back on, it was fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, come on. Yeah.
A while back, I wasn't really that interested in Diablo 3, but I got Diablo 3 to play with a significant other so that I could spend time with her. Well, that fell apart, but I still have Diablo 3, and I don't really care. I wasn't very impressed with it.
Right.
But I don't know if I was going through still trying to connect with the loss of this other person or whatever.
Right.
So I've been playing it, and it had a bunch of high-res 4K additions to it.
Updates. Uh-huh.
So it looks prettier. I beat it, and it was a lot shorter than I thought it would be, and it's okay. I mean, it's not great. It's okay. And after you beat it, you unlock, like, Torment level 20 or something, and you just go, yeah.
I just don't care. Yeah, I have a couple coworkers. I don't know about the one. He seems to like what's it called? Path of Exile right now.
Right. That should be pretty good.
Yeah, and he plays that almost exclusively, that I can tell. But he used to play it, and I have a coworker that plays it, plays Diablo 3, and their take on it was, it's an okay game. They usually come and play it. They usually pick it back up and play it again when it gets an update of new gear and stuff and new. But I just hate the whole grinding thing. I really don't like it for the most part. There are some games that I find that are challenging and entertaining, and it's not so much of a grind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To play it, but
I liked Diablo 2. Diablo 3 is a little more actiony than I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I mean, I beat it. It's okay. I skipped pretty much the entire story. I have the gist of what happened. And the story's kind of dumb. All
Well,
right?
from what I can understand of the Diablo story, it's not really so much story as it is based on gameplay and stuff. You know what I mean?
No, there was story.
I know there's story, but it didn't seem to be really a... See, I played Diablo 2.
Oh, no, they sold it hard in Diablo 2. They sold the story hard. And in 3, they sold it as well. Like it was, this is a big deal.
Well, no, I'm not saying that to them it wasn't a big deal. To me, it just wasn't a big deal. If you get what I mean. It's like the story just seemed to be attached there, but not really doing much,
Well,
if that
that's
makes
not
sense.
to say it wasn't there and it wasn't overly complex and convoluted, but...
Right, but it just didn't seem to matter when I was playing
to
it.
you is what I'm saying.
Oh,
The
yeah,
story
maybe.
made a big difference to what was going on. I
Sure.
mean, Diablo 3, there was reasons you went from one place to another because you were chasing different stuff that was going on. And Diablo 3 emphasized the story even more. And to sum up the story, spoilers for those who haven't played the game. You start out, there's this magic chick in Deckard. Deckard dies, Magic Chick's upset. You find out Magic Chick is actually the daughter of Diablo and this witch lady. Diablo takes over her body and manifests himself and becomes like alive, and prior to that you killed 2 other of the primevals
Okay.
and you trap them in a crystal, and then you want to go defeat Diablo and trap him in a crystal, but he gets the crystal. See, they have this weird clever idea of like there's this magical crystal where you can trap the primevals in it. They won't stay in there forever, but you can put them in there.
For a long time. And
Yeah, you're like, okay. And then somebody's like, well, what we're going to do is trap him in the crystal and then just break it. And I was like, that seems like not a terrible idea, honestly. If you could put him in there, why not put him in there and shatter the stupid thing?
Well, right, but if you put them in there and shatter it, wouldn't that release them?
Apparently it wouldn't.
Huh.
But that was the goal anyway. Well, Diablo shows up, I guess. He gets the crystal... and he consumes them all into himself, and he becomes like a super evil guy. Like he has all of the powers of all of the primevals.
Right.
And he becomes like Super Diablo.
Super Diablo.
Like Super Saiyan Diablo. And
Right.
he goes...
His hair goes on fire.
Right. He invades heaven, and he thrashes the crap out of it. And you show up into heaven to try and deal with Diablo, and eventually you have this big fight and you beat Diablo. And then you go into the DLC. And the DLC is kind of dumb as well. Where you go to the DLC and the DLC's like, oh, by the way, Death is super pissed off, and he's like, all this fighting is stupid. We need to end the Great War by killing everybody.
Of
You're
course.
like, really, Death? He's like, yeah. So it's just dealing with death and fighting all that dumbness until you finally get to the end, and then you beat Death. And I was like, what a stupid motivation for stuff. Death is like, you know what? I'm just going to end the great war between good and evil by killing everything. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, good idea. Good idea, Death. Brilliant move.
Yeah,
the story was dumb. Besides that, I'm quote unquote expecting the VR headset this week. It's just shipping to Sony took forever. Having them fix it took forever. Theoretically, they should be ending it sometime this week from what they said.
They're like,
We'll
yeah,
see.
we're almost
By
done.
the time they ship it back, it could be another week before it gets to me. I don't know.
That's true.
It's dumb. At any rate, I mean, other stuff happened. I watched the entirety of The Office, and then after I finished it, I started again.
See, I'm still watching Newhart, which I love, it's kind of funny. Every once in a while, Newhart references the previous show that Bob Newhart did, which was the Bob Newhart Show, and makes fun of it. It's hilarious to me.
I don't know. I like The Office, and it's distracting me from the emotional turmoil that is my life. So I am doing that very girl thing by replacing relationship with
With
fake relationships through proxy.
right,
You know what I mean? Which
right,
is why
yeah,
women like Titanic, and they're like, because they imagine themselves as the person on the floaty door.
right.
They're like, I'm the person that's there making out with Jack instead of like the other chick. They
Right.
think they're the one that's there.
Of course.
At any rate, The Office is all right, and it's still fun and stupid. And it's been a while since I've seen it, so it's entertaining. I guess we could talk about E3. I mean, I don't know if we really want
Sure.
to.
Well, no, the thing is that E3 is going on right now,
Yeah.
and
Okay,
we
so
should say something.
I was just being a douche. Of course, we were going to bring up E3. So Microsoft, I watched the entirety of the Microsoft stream, which was Sunday.
Uh huh.
Okay, so they announced the Scorpio, Project Scorpio, which we knew was just a placeholder name.
Right.
And the Xbox One is now, well, the Xbox One Scorpio is now officially the Xbox One X, which is okay.
I don't
guess
know.
they had the Xbox One S, so the
They should
Xbox
have gone
One
with the
X
Xbox
isn't-
One T. No, that wouldn't
it's
work.
the
B.
people have been joking. It's now the Xbone X as opposed to just the Xbone.
Yeah.
It's okay. The Xbox One wasn't a great name anyway. So
No, it was
I
a
don't know
stupid
who's
name.
naming their garbage over there.
Although to give them credit, the Xbox One is still, in my opinion, a far better name than the Wii.
Yeah, I don't know. The Wii didn't bother me the way it did everybody else.
Well, the thing is that they started out with it's called the Nintendo Revolution. I'm like, hey, that's actually kind of catchy. That's kind of a nice name.
Well,
And then they're like,
that's just the code names. They always code name.
I
The
know.
GameCube was the Dolphin. I don't remember the ones previous to that. I know the Dreamcast was the Katana. Yeah, I mean it just changes depending on which.
True, but still, the Wii.
The Wii didn't bother me. It sounds funny to us.
That's true.
To us listening to it. The Wii was intended to be like we as in us collectively. We play together. The Wii
Right.
as in it's the entertainment system where you and your friends can sit down and play. That doesn't seem like a bad idea. But
No.
to an American's ears, we go, oh, it sounds like somebody's peeing.
Or it's sounding like Wii.
Yeah, but even then, it was like understanding the concept and not being a total child. It didn't bother me too much. I mean, they could have come up with a better name, but the Wii wasn't like a horrible name to me. It's just everybody were so immature. They're like, oh, the Wii, and I was, oh, whatever.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's not necessarily that. Okay, so at work, they're changing the name of the college that I work for. It's going to be Bridgerland Technical College, and the problem isn't that there's a problem with changing it to Bridgerland Technical College. It's the logo that they were trying to use for it. They wanted to call it B-Tech. And now B-Tech doesn't sound too bad. The problem is that when you see it spelled out, it looks like Blech or bitch.
Yeah.
And see that we're not saying B-Tech is bad or Wii is bad. It's just the connotations that are attached to it. And it's like you knew beforehand going in, at least, I would assume that somebody would point out and say, maybe we might, especially, if they're like trying to sell this in the United States and stuff. Somebody probably said, this might not be the greatest name that we could come up with for the Nintendo. And they're like, we're going with it anyway. See, that's what gets me. It's like you were warned beforehand that it could be it might not be the best name to give it. And at that point, you're just like, nah, we don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we finally at work we finally got them to the point where we're like, look, really, this is not a good logo for us, and they finally were. Up until like a month ago, they were totally gonna go with that logo, even though we pointed it out to them several times. The lady who designs the logo is like, this is not a good idea. I'm a professional logo designer, and this is not a good idea. And they're just like, we don't care.
By the way, we are way off topic.
True. So back to Microsoft.
So I saw the whole thing. The Xbox One X has been released. So it seems like the theme, if I were to theme the entire show, was based around, hey guys, this is the most powerful console ever created. Oh my, everybody freak out. This is the most powerful console ever. And it's a gimmick that works really well right now. But
Right.
last year they were going, oh, the PS4 Pro is the most powerful console ever. And now it's like, this is the most powerful console ever. And it's just every new
Until the
console
next
is going to
most
come out.
powerful
Right, it's
console
going to be
comes
the
out.
next most powerful console ever. I don't care. Is it really powerful? Yes. Is it significantly enough of a jump? Some stats seem to suggest it's enough of a jump over the PS4 Pro. Boy, did they really emphasize the 4K stuff. They're like, oh, 4K this, 4K that. Look what it can do in 4K. Look at all of these fancy graphics and light and blah, blah, blah. They did one of the dumbest things ever. They showed off the 4K version that they're releasing, and it's this big deal. Oh, look, we've got this new awesome 4K thing version of Minecraft.
Of course, because we
Look at
need
the
to see
fanciest
Minecraft
ultra graphics you've ever seen in Minecraft. And I
that
remember
looks like an 8-bit game.
I remember thinking at the time, I was like, the charm of Minecraft is it looks like old school and pixely.
Yeah.
Like, that's sort of the point. They're like, oh, look, Minecraft with like the greatest lighting engine ever created by man. It's like, look at that light come through the trees and the over the mountains and past these
the crappy
square
blocky
pixelated
trees.
blocks. Hey, look at those pixelated blocks in the highest resolution we can create right now.
Oh man.
Oh, it was dumb. They're like, look at all these 4K games. Look at all these games that already are out in 4K. Do you own this one, or this one? Well, these will be upgraded into 4K as well. And it's like, okay. All right. We get it. You're really super psyched about this 4K thing, you guys. I understand. Like, they had people wearing T-shirts that say, I witnessed the most powerful console ever. Like, it was the most douchey, pretentious thing you could possibly see.
Well, like we said, until the next most powerful console comes out next year.
Exactly. It was just dumb. So most analysts before the console came out were saying the Xbox One Scorpio at the time, with Xbox One X now, because of the hardware inside of it, would likely cost them to make around $500. So this thing could cost, upwards of $8 or something. Mm-hmm. They're only charging $499 for it. So that's not horrible.
No, that's not horrible.
Considering how much it costs them, they're probably like, it's a wash for them. They're getting as much money as it costs to make this stupid thing.
Which, isn't necessarily a long-term business strategy, but at the same time,
selling a lot, then fine.
Yeah. If they can sell enough of the consoles, then it might be worth their effort there, but that's a big if.
Most companies lose money on a console. My guess is they're losing money on this one. The Wii U apparently was one of the most profitable consoles that Nintendo had ever made. I mean, it didn't sell the greatest because, the lineup and stuff. But after one game sold after the console, they were earning a profit. Whereas most, you have to purchase a few games before there's a major profit that's significant enough. As far as the Xbox One X, it doesn't even look slick. It's a smaller, just plain black box. I mean, you saw pictures of it. It's just, it's what it is. They made a big deal that it's backwards compatible with all the other previous controllers and accessories and all those sorts of things, which makes you go, oh, okay, so.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
mean that's nice.
crazy
If I
powerful.
decide to buy one and I have an extra controller, I can still use the controller.
Yeah, but
I don't
why
have
would
to
they
buy
make
new
it?
hardware.
Why would they make it not compatible with the previous stuff? Come on.
That's true.
But they
I
made
mean,
it
I
like it
could.
was this special thing. Like, yeah, and you can use your old. I mean, no, no, that's just what it is. It's not exciting looking. There was some commentary where people were saying that like, oh, they had the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X displayed next to each other, so you could go and look at them, and they're like, the Xbox One S looks more exciting than the other, than the one that's crazy
Which is
powerful
funny.
and more powerful than anything else. And oh my gosh, look at the power! Look at all of the teraflops and the stats and what have you.
It's like they could have made it much more impressive, but they're like, just throw a box on it; it'll be fine.
And it's smaller than the S. It's the smallest console they've ever made. But let's go through some of the announcements that they made. To be fair, though, that's a very decent price.
That is a decent price.
It's
I
not the
wonder.
greatest price, but it's a decent price. The PlayStation 4 Pro is 400, so this is a big difference between the two.
And it's not so much a difference in price at that point. I mean, $100. That's
Yeah,
not
but
so
man,
bad.
are they shoving that 4K? They're like, oh, 4K, look at how pretty this is, 4K. Um, so they announced a new Metro game
Mhm.
called Metro Exodus. I've read the books, the first two books, and
Uh-huh.
I thought they were great. I really enjoyed them. They're written by a Russian author. This
Right.
game looks really good, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I really enjoyed the Metro series. Assassin's Creed Origins was announced. They actually skipped a year for an Assassin's Creed that we didn't get one, so we finally get one this year.
So it's called Assassin's Creed Origins,
Yeah, it's supposed to place the origins of the assassin groups, which
and
is placing it in Egypt for some reason, even though the
that seems
term
odd.
origin is from the Middle East. But
Right. They were named after the word for marijuana.
marijuana, yeah.
Yeah.
Assassin, it was like Hashashin or whatever they call
Yeah.
the stupid stuff. Because basically, the original assassins, quote unquote assassins, used to hang out and get high and then go kill people.
Yeah.
But this is Egypt. I mean, it looks pretty. Shrug. I mean,
I
that's
would
about as far as I can get.
I would have been severely disappointed if it didn't look pretty. You know what I
This
mean?
thing is well, they kept making a big deal about the Xbox One X. So everything they showed that was sort of linked to it had to be the
Uh-huh.
greatest graphical thing you've ever seen. It had to blow
Well,
you
see,
out of the water.
that I would have gone with with showcasing something like um, Assassin's Creed rather than Minecraft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least with with Assassin's Creed, you're like, look at the textures on the people, look at
Yeah.
the character models, look at
Hey,
the.
you should see the hype trailer for Minecraft in 4K. It is stupid. They're like, oh my gosh, the prettiest game you've ever seen, built around being very pixely. Um,
You can see each and every pixel.
for the first time ever, Minecraft in 4K, ultra high resolution, dynamic lighting. I was like, you went too far. Anyway,
Yeah.
Player Unknown's Battlegrounds coming to Xbox One. I don't care. This game's super popular right now, and it's all the hype, and it's the thing that everybody wants to play, and it's everybody's streaming it or whatever. That's why it's on the Xbox One. That's why it was featured, but it's not even really that big an innovation. It's just a really fun game.
Hmm.
It's not different. Other games have done the same thing and decently. State of Decay 2. I mean, State of Decay looks. It was a lot of fun before. It looks like it's set in pretty much the similar setting that the other State of Decay was.
Uh-huh.
Uh, let's see. Minecraft high res. New Dragon Ball Z fighting game, and this one actually looks like a blast. It's so pretty. It's really good looking, and it's not 3D fighting game. It's a 2D fighting game, and it looks really good. I would recommend checking it out. One of the show stealers that everybody got excited for because it looked amazing is a game called The Last Night.
Uh-huh.
I showed a bunch of it. It looks awesome. It's got this weird 3D slash 2D look to it, and it looks amazing. And if Jason looks up a trailer at the moment, the game's called The Last Night. The one interesting thing that's been on Kotaku and people have been talking about, they're like, oh my gosh, this is such a big deal, is the creator of the game is getting a bunch of flack because people went through his previous Twitter stuff, and he supported Gamergate. And they're all pissed off, and they're like, oh, this is a black mark on a game that looked really good. And I was like, why? Because he's not allowed to have an opinion?
No,
like,
no.
this game looks
no
amazing,
opinions.
but he supported Gamergate. Oh, no. He had an opinion about games journalism and thought it was corrupt. Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. I mean...
How horrible for him to say, I don't like feminism. Let's get him. Let's lynch him despite the fact he made an amazing-looking game.
Mm-hmm.
You get a chance to look at it?
A little bit. It was kind of hard to hear you over so
well,
I'll take a look at it later.
Listen to it. Just watch the trailer. The main.
It looked really cool.
It looks really pretty, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's an interesting art style too.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great. Sea of Thieves, which is one game everybody's been freaking out about because it's basically, think of Guns of Icarus,
right?
Pirates,
right?
And it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like
Yeah.
a blast. Everybody's been talking about it. It's a pirate co-op game. You can have 4 or 5 people on a ship or something. Pilot around, fight people. Looks like a lot of fun. Something I think we should both end up getting and playing.
Sounds like a good idea.
Game called Tacoma. I don't recall much from it. It's from the makers of Gone Home. It looks interesting. Crackdown 3 finally announced, and everybody's been psyched for Crackdown. Crackdown's been one of those flagship Xbox, games.
Right.
They kind of have to have one every generation. Hey, guess what, Jason? They announced a platformer, fun, goofy, character jumping around 3D game, almost reminiscent of almost a Conquer is not as dirty, or
Mario?
Banjo-Kazooie, or Mario, or it features a fox that looks okay. They made a big deal about, oh, look at this big fun game for the kids. Hey, guess what? Cuphead has finally got a date.
Oh, that's
After
awesome.
having been shown every E3 forever,
Yeah.
as far as we know, then this game will never come out. But Cuphead did finally get a date, and it's September 29th. So, the release of the Xbox One X, is going to be the 7th of November, from what I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, a game called Ashen. They had a really interesting trailer. I don't recall what the crap that game's about. Life
That
is
sounds
Strange
familiar.
prequel. Ori and the Blind Forest sequel called Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Ori and the Blind Forest was a really good game. Real pretty, artsy sort of game.
Yeah.
The big announcement, which got everybody excited, and they were able to drop really well, sort of surprise everybody, is Microsoft is expanding the Xbox One's backwards compatibility program to the first Xbox.
Which
And
seems
they got
odd.
a pretty exciting response from that. Chance seems to be psyched about it. It does seem odd, but I like the idea is if you have an Xbox One, you can play all of the previous Xbox games. You still don't have 100% backwards compatibility for the
Right.
Xbox 360, but adding to that the original Xbox is not a terrible idea. Especially if you have a lot of the big name brand stuff, they're probably going to be the ones that get backwards compatibility anyway.
Yeah, that's true. For me, having backwards compatibility with the original Xbox games, not that big a deal, really, to me.
Well, you made
Personally.
a big deal about it. You made a big... That's the reason why you wanted the Xbox One. And I was like, I never played
No.
the backwards compatible. Yeah, that was the big
No,
reason why you
with
bought
the
it.
Xbox 360.
Well, I never play anything backwards compatible. I didn't play anything on the Xbox 360, and I sure as heck don't play it on the Xbox One.
Well, see, that I get that. That's my thing. It's like the reason that I went with ended up going with the Xbox One was because at that point
You
I
made
could
bad
play
decisions.
some of my Xbox 360 games. I
But
had
you
games to
have
play.
an Xbox 360.
I do have an Xbox
You
360.
don't need to have the backwards compatibility because you have one.
What if
You're
it
like,
dies?
so you did it on a what if. I understand. All right, you're just got brand loyalty.
Well, somewhat.
BioWare showed off some new shooter called Anthem. It looks okay. It's really pretty.
Hmm.
I haven't seen enough to be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Xbox One X, blah blah blah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say for that. Let's go over other things that I kind of skimmed over. Ubisoft. Yes, they finally did show something concrete that we will be seeing a Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh, really? Wow.
They
Been a
have a
while.
trailer for it and everything. Yeah, it has been a while. It's a prequel to Beyond Good and Evil 1. They're doing a crossover with Mario with the stupid Ubisoft Rabid Rabbits.
Really? That
Yeah.
seems stupid.
Yeah, and it's going to be... They showed videos of some of the rabbits doing stuff with Mario, and one of the rabbits was dressed up as Peach or whatever. And it just looks dumb. It's their big fun thing. The Crew 2 announced. The Crew 1 was actually pretty fun, but let's see.
Which one was the Crew?
A racing game.
Oh, that one. Okay.
The most exciting announcement that they showed is quite interesting.
Okay.
So, did you ever play Assassin's Creed Black Flag or Assassin's Creed 3 or anything?
No.
Okay. So, one of the funnest and greatest parts of those games was the pirate ship game.
Right.
You know, where you went around in your pirate ship. And I mean, that was 99% of why I love the crap out of that game. I actually was less interested in getting off the ship.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people having that kind of reaction. They're like, this is the best part of the game. If you play the game for nothing else, you should play it for the pirate ships.
Right. So there's a game coming out called Skull and Bones, and basically it's the same gameplay, the pirate stuff that you got in Assassin's Creed.
Nice.
It'll do PvP as far as we can tell. You'll be able to have PvP battles with other people and these big pirate ship battles, and it just looks really cool. It looks like a lot of fun. Of the Ubisoft stuff that they showed, that looks awesome. Some game called Starlink. They showed more Far Cry 5, which I don't care about.
That's the one that's set up in like Montana, right?
Yeah.
That's like military extremists or whatever they're called.
No, it's a religious cult thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. None of the other stuff I care about. Bethesda, Doom VR, which is a VR title that they announced, a Doom VR game. We will be seeing... They showed some Skyrim stuff with the Nintendo Switch. Dishonored DLC, Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein 2, and Fallout 4 in VR.
Oh, that's right.
Surprised the crap out of me that Fallout 4 will be coming entirely in VR. I don't know what to expect from that.
It could be interesting to, for the building portions.
I guess, but we'll see how that plays out. Let's go over Sony. Another Uncharted game. I don't care. It looks as good as most of the Uncharted Naughty Dog stuff they show.
Right, but at the same time, it's like it's iffy at this point because it's...
Well, they already got rid of Nathan Drake, and he was the reason why he brought me in.
Right.
Now it's like new characters, and I was like, I don't care. And the problem that they have with women characters, because this game is going to have female leads, is not because they're female leads, is they don't know how to write female leads. So they're going to make them overly masculine and overly tough to sort of do the yay women, let's fight and win. And their characters are not going to be very interesting. Whereas Nathan Drake had that snarky sort of like Indiana Jones quality to him.
Right.
So it's going to be dumb.
At the same time, it's like we said before, instead of just writing a good game with a good female lead, they have a tendency to do, you must play this game because we have a female lead.
Yeah,
Look
like
at
there's
us.
An expectation.
look at us. We are progressive. We're moving with the times. We have a female lead. You must play our game because our lead is female, rather than come play our fun game. Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, the lead's female.
I've heard a
Not that
lot
it
of
really
good.
matters.
My criticism mostly about Wonder Woman is because the weird feminist push behind it. But
Yeah.
most of the thing I've been seeing about Wonder Woman is it's individually just a really good movie.
Yeah.
And so I might end up having to see it because on its own merits, not because of the push because it's a big female lead, that it's just good because it's a good movie. That's what I'm interested in. So I've sort of tipped over the balance and I'm more interested in seeing it now. Chance
Which
gave it really good praise, even though he said I probably will hate it, and mostly simply because I hate everything.
Well, we did hate Batman versus Superman, and he liked it. So
Deserve it. Well, Chance has terrible opinions.
yeah. So, but I have heard good things about the movie. I have heard that
So have I.
it's the best DC offering so far. But I mean, if you look at the other DC offerings that have been coming out recently, you're like, well,
I like
that
the
might not
setting.
be a huge step up.
I like the setting. The is it World War One setting or is it World War Two?
I think it's 2, but I'm not sure.
I like the setting anyway. Let's see. Horizon Zero Dawn gets an expansion. I don't care. I don't own Horizon Zero Dawn. A lot of people said they liked it, but it doesn't attract me. Days Gone, that seems like an interesting game. They showed more of that. Monster Hunter is getting a game release to Sony. That's got to be a big push for them because people have been looking for a big Monster Hunter release on the big new consoles.
It's
Coming to
it's
PS4 and Xbox One.
World
early
War
in
One, by the way.
2018, in the form of Monster Hunter World, which yes, okay, I'm in. Blah blah blah. Okay. Shadow of the Colossus is getting a remake for PS4, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shadow of the Colossus is a really good game.
The thing is that I've never played the Shadow of the Colossus. I've heard it's really good. I've seen a lot of the gameplay. I've read a lot of the story. It seems like a really great game.
Well, I always wanted
my
to play
hesitancy here is do we really need a remake?
Yes. I always wanted to play it, but the problem was it was older, and I sort of moved on past it, and I never had a chance at that time, and I always thought maybe one day down the road I'll pick it up and play it on the older console, but it's definitely going to be dated. Now they're updating it, coming out in the new console, and I was like, well, now I don't have an excuse. I still wanted to play that game, and now it's going to look amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
Call of Duty World War II, which was announced prior to this. Let's see. Final Fantasy 15 is apparently getting some DLC. God of War, they showed again. See, Detroit. David Cage's Detroit is probably going to be a disaster. Spider-Man Homecoming looks really good.
Yeah.
The video game, not necessarily the movie. Apparently,
Yeah,
at
we
the
don't.
end of the trailer, it shows Miles Morales taking photos of Spider-Man. Well, maybe I'm not so much interested in this anymore.
Yeah.
Screw that kid. He's basically part of the reason why I stopped buying Marvel,
Yeah.
if I'm going to be honest.
You know, I'm glad that
We don't need to
Marvel.
get into it again, Jason, for crying out loud.
I'm glad that Marvel's going back on that, but they never should have gone into it in the first place.
Oh no, he's staying around.
Oh no, I
Of all
meant.
the characters, he's sticking.
Oh, yeah,
They
I know
killed off
that.
a bunch of other ones.
I just meant that they never should have gone down that road in the first place.
No, they shouldn't have.
And I'm glad that they're kind of backpedaling at this point. But yeah.
They showed off a bunch of E3 stuff, a bunch of VR stuff. Sony did. In particular, that seemed to stand out to me was the Skyrim VR, which I don't know if it's the full game or just some Skyrim VR stuff. But it looks interesting. Military shooter called Bravo Team. Game called Star Child. A thriller called The Impatient. a Final Fantasy 15 fishing game for PlayStation VR.
Because that's what we need. Final Fantasy 15 fishing.
I guess. But yeah, they seem to have pushed the VR stuff. Sony doesn't seem to have a big announcement to be like, oh, we killed it and they didn't or whatever. It seems like what Sony had was just a lot of showcasing of games.
Mm-hmm.
Mysteriously absent is The Last of Us 2 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Yeah, that's true.
Which both those games were big hype games that everybody was excited for that they showcased last year.
Last year, yeah.
This year we got nothing.
Totally.
To their credit, they did show a lot more support for the PSVR, which has been floundering and we haven't seen a lot of, so it's good to know that they are supporting and still pushing money behind that thing.
We also didn't see anything about Shenmue 3.
That has been delayed a year. The word came out this last week or the week before. Massive delay showed up that it's going to be pushed back another year.
Wow.
Which just pissed off and annoyed everybody, but
of course
I'd rather it be good than rushed.
Yeah, yeah.
As opposed to Mighty Number 9 It, where everybody thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever, and the guy that created Mega Man, and this was going to be the new Mega Man for our generation, and it was horrible.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, their re-emphasis behind VR and stuff is great. They should be. If I missed anything, I don't care. I probably will finally get the chance to sit down and watch the Sony show just so I can say I saw it and I got the whole experience or whatever.
Yeah, he started watching the Sony show, and then we realized later. Yeah, we realized later he was actually watching last year's Sony show.
Well, before, yeah, because I couldn't find one immediately tonight before the podcast, but we watched a bit of it in the car to class.
Oh, you were? That was the
Sony show, because it started at 7, and we were basically driving at 7.
Yeah. I thought you were saying that was the one that was last year's show.
No, the last year's one was the one I started watching before the podcast.
And then you're like, wait, that's not the one I need to watch. Gotcha.
Yep. At any rate, I don't know. I don't know if you saw anything more exciting than that, or is there anything more interesting to share on top of the... they showed some games. A couple of them seemed to stand out or new or whatever. But it's like a lot of these games I saw... I either already knew existed as another iteration of something I've already seen. I mean, they showed Battlefront 2, which we didn't talk about, and it looks fun, but it's just another Battlefront game. Anthem seems to be the only one that's not a sequel or another part of a franchise or whatever. And there are a few VR games that are kind of new.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is that that I did see the trailer for Battlefront 2 and was really impressed by it. It's a really good looking trailer. Hopefully the game will live up to the to live up to the trailer. I mean, that said, it was actual gameplay footage. So
did you say you own Battlefront for Xbox One?
Yeah, I do.
Do you play it much?
Not yet.
I keep thinking maybe I can find it for cheap and get it so that we can play together, but
I need to play it because it's sitting there and it's not doing me any good.
We can play it together, so I need to find a copy so we can play it, and you'll have an excuse to play it. What's funner is it's just the problem is I already own it for the PlayStation 4. It's just Jason went for the terrible console decision. And I did not, just because he had brand loyalty and doesn't ever play backwards compatibility.
Well, that's not exactly true.
Yeah, it's true.
No, I play backwards compatibility. I just meant not backwards compatibility clear to the Xbox.
Well, now you have that option, Jason.
Yeah, which it will never happen.
Yeah. It's not gonna. Yeah, as far as standouts, nothing too much. I mean, Skull and Bones seemed like a great fun pirate game.
Yeah.
And the other pirate game for the Xbox, whatever. They made a big deal about the big Forza release during the Microsoft show. And they're
Uh-huh.
like, we usually have these, we show off our brand new car and we premiere these in really fancy locations and all the press shows up. But we're, for the first time ever, going to unveil the new Porsche here at the show. And it's like, these are gamers. They don't care about the most expensive fancy car you have to show. And they unveiled it and they're like, ooh, you've never seen this before. And I'm like, so?
Exactly. It's like we don't actually care.
The most powerful 911 engine ever seen in a Porsche. And I was like, I don't care.
The thing is I do like nice cars, but at the same time, it's like they're not what would get me to go to a video game E3. You know what I mean?
You know what? Here's the most interesting setup that they have that I did not expect.
Okay.
Because here's the thing with the Xbox, the original. They're basically all going to start looking better because they're basically going to take all of the textures and stuff and just upres everything anyway.
Right.
So they're going to be the best version of that game you've ever played on on the Xbox One. One thing I wasn't aware of that I'm reading on Kotaku at the moment, but if you have an original Xbox and an Xbox 360 and an Xbox One or an Xbox One X or whatever, and you have some games you want to play, maybe they're all on the original Xbox, they will all system link together.
Wow.
That they will all be able to talk to one another, and you will be able to system link with the Xbox game that you want to play.
Huh. That's kind of cool.
And that's pretty cool. That's a level of integration that deserves some credit. But they're making an effort to be like, hey, your friend still only has an Xbox and you have an Xbox One X. You can still both sit down and play Crimson Skies or whatever.
That is cool.
I'm like, yeah, you can. Oh, it seems like an interesting idea. There's an Age of Empires Definitive Edition Remastered Classic. So they're not coming out with a new one, but they're remastering Age of Empires.
Okay.
So that's from the PC show.
Right.
I didn't watch anything else from the PC show.
See, I when they came and said that they were going to do Final Fantasy VII as a remake, I did get kind of excited about that. But so far, none of the remakes have really been that attractive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's just that they haven't really gotten to things that I played that I would like to see remade. And that could be it. I'll have to figure out. I'll have to think about what ones that I would really like to see remade and see if.
Well, I always on the top of my list, if anybody were ever to actually do a remake, a graphical, complete remake that looks fancy and is new, current gen console graphics and that sort of thing, would be Knights of the Old Republic. That would be the one game. I mean, that and Knights of the Old Republic 2 would be the two games where I'd be like, I want to play those. Other than that, there's not a lot, because a lot of the games just sort of are great for what they were at the time.
Right.
And I'm content playing them at the graphics that they were at. But
well, some of the problem is that if they do a remake, then the problem exists that the gameplay and things and the environment and the story, it was fine for the time that it was made, but now that's no longer the case, and so you run the risk of them having to change the story too much. That's one of the things that
No, that's not a risk. They do it to modernize it. See, that was the problem with Final Fantasy VII. It wasn't a risk. All we really wanted was Final Fantasy VII with current gen graphics. They said, hey, guess what? We're going to remake Final Fantasy VII and make it an action-y game and blah, blah, blah. And everybody went, well, that's bullcrap. You could still make the original Final Fantasy VII, all the core mechanics, all how the game ran, all of that still existed. It's just they didn't want to, they got to modernize the concept.
I guess I shouldn't say risk in the sense of,
Some games don't age well, but it's not necessarily graphical. Sometimes they don't age well because they're just not fun.
right. The thing, I guess I should say the risk to gamers as opposed to the risk to, like you said, with, with, why can I not? With Final Fantasy VII, like you said, we wanted current gen graphics with the Final Fantasy VII, same gameplay, story, everything. And they're like, well, we're going to change it. It's like, well...
And it's going to be too big a project, and it's going to be chapter-based because this is just going to cost way too much money.
Yeah.
At any rate, I mean, first, the problem is that this E3 wasn't super exciting. There was some cool stuff to come out. Secondly, is we're not weird Screamlord internet people, which tells me I'm never going to be able to get a job at one of those places because I don't scream and freak out about every stupid thing because I'm an adult and not a child. And any place that promotes that are idiots because they're over-exaggerating. They don't actually feel that way.
It's a funny thing. It's like that would be exactly the reason they should give us a job.
Because we don't act like that?
Well... The thing is that in order for us to actually act like that, they would actually have to impress us. It wouldn't just be like,
there are a few
we're doing this. We're doing this because, everybody wants to see us reacting. We're doing it actually because we are actually impressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just nothing impresses me. At any rate...
And so if you actually acted like you were impressed, they'd be like, oh my gosh, he's actually impressed.
Wow, this is the greatest thing ever. Yeah, that takes investment in getting to know me and realizing that when I do, and nobody cares that much. They just want somebody who freaks out about every little thing and makes it seem like this one small announcement is the thing that's going to change the world.
And it's a freaking...
Xbox One X is a dumb name. At any rate, let's get out of here and call this quits. We roughly covered E3. Was your reaction to E3 different than ours? Did you get something really exciting? Please email us at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and tell us how horrible we are and our opinions are wrong. Other than that, let's scream out of here. Jason, anything we missed you want to leave us with?
Nah. Nothing that I can think of that we missed.
Care. Playing the outro.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Distracted Gamers podcast. If you like the show, follow Rhett and Jason, the world's two most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter @DG Podcast, or check them out at www.thedistractedgamers.com. If you loved or hated what you've heard here, email them at thedistractedgamers.blogspot.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason will care, since he hasn't any, of course.